watching Monday Night Football made me wonder, like, how good is Derek Carr? And where would I rank Derek Carr among other NFL quarterbacks? And I believe Derek Carr, the Raiders quarterback, is going to have a really big year. He's like, to me, I look at him like a Tony Romo or a Carson Palmer, a great player who gets a lot of hate, and in my opinion, way more talented than they get credit for. Like the hate is undeserving of Derek Carr. He once had an MVP caliber year, literally, and yet people, they blame him. I think as a team gets better around Derek Carr, people are going to start to change their feelings about him. The same way I think Matthew Stafford is going to change hearts and minds with his new team around him in LA. You're like, oh, hey, Matthew Stafford in Detroit with the Lions, horrible. Matthew Stafford with the Rams in LA, a good football team, good coaching, competent ownership. Oh, wow, it's amazing how much better you are when you actually have help and good people around you. Weird. So I think a similar effect will happen hopefully this year with Derek Carr and the Raiders. Now, one thing I love about Derek Carr is his arm is amazing. He's got this really, really underrated arm. And it's funny, a lot of people like want to run him out of Vegas, or they want the Raiders to just drop him as their quarterback. And I'm like, that's totally ridiculous. Like, why is Derek me getting all this hate for years and years and years? So I thought to myself, it was like a fun exercise. Okay, which quarterbacks around the NFL would I rather have than Derek Carr? And I don't know if it's like you're given the option, one or the other. I just assume like, hey, if I'm building a team and you said Derek Carr or blank, would I pick the other guy or would I pick Derek Carr? And I came up with 9 different names that I was like, for sure, 100%, I would pick them over Derek Carr. Now, rookies are not allowed on this list because I considered Trey Lance, I considered Zach Wilson, the Jets quarterback, the 49ers quarterback. I love their ability to run, and you'll hear when you listen to this list, like a lot of the guys I pick are there because they can run and they can extend plays. And I would want to coach Zach Wilson and Trey Lance a lot. I don't know if they're going to work out. The rookies have got a lot to prove. So I decided, hey, no rookies on this list are allowed. That's kind of weird. Let's wait to see if they can prove themselves as NFL quarterbacks before we do that. But in the end, I landed on 9 quarterbacks I would rather have than Derek Carr. I put them in alphabetical order because it's not a ranking. I don't want people to be like, oh, he picked this guy number 1. And so they're all alphabetical except for one. I put Kyler Murray ahead of Mahomes because I think the way it transitions from Murray to Mahomes is better. But these are just quarterbacks I would rather have than Derek Carr in no particular order other than alphabetical order. So number 1 is Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills quarterback. His potential is amazing. And we saw it last year. I thought he had an MVP caliber year last year. Didn't win. He lost week 1. People already asking the question, like, is Josh Allen bad suddenly? Like, get the heck out of here. That's ridiculous. The dude can run around. He can make plays that Derek Carr simply cannot make. He's also younger, too. Like, Josh Allen is one of the best young quarterbacks in the entire NFL, and I would take him over Derek Carr. Number 2 is Tom Brady, from one extreme to the other. Youth to age, 44 years old Tom Brady. So even if I was building a team now and you said, hey, you're going to get 8 to 10 more years with Derek Carr. Derek Carr is 30 years old. And you're like, hey, with Derek Carr, you might get 8 to 10 more years with him. With Tom Brady, he's 44. You might get 2 years with Tom Brady. And I'm like, I'll take 2 years with Tom Brady than 10 with Derek Carr easily because leadership is attention to detail. He elevates the people around him. I love Derek Carr. I think he's been a victim of a bad franchise, but we've seen, and look, Brady the same way has been elevated by the Patriots were really, really good. Like that, we can't deny that helped Tom Brady throughout his entire career. You can't deny that the Buccaneers elevated Tom Brady because they have amazing receivers and a really good front seven on defense and good offensive line and good coaching, yada, yada. So like every quarterback needs help. I'm not trying to not argue that, but if you said, hey, Zach, you're building a team, you pick every single player on the roster, and you said, hey, would you rather have Derek Carr or Tom Brady? Like there's 2 people left I can draft. I'm drafting Tom Brady, not Derek Carr. Number 3, Justin Herbert. He's younger than Derek Carr. He's bigger. He's capable of more. He runs better. He's got a massive arm. Pretty straightforward. Like Justin Herbert has got a higher ceiling, and I think I would draft him and take him over Derek Carr. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. And I guess I'm realizing now as I talk, I'm assuming this is like a not a fantasy draft. What's the word? You ever do Madden and you do a draft of the whole league? Maybe that is called a fantasy draft. I don't know, but I guess I would take in this situation Herbert over Carr, and this is how I build this list in my head. So the number 4 quarterback I would take over Derek Carr is Lamar Jackson. This one is pretty close to me. I think they are similar ability. I think Derek Carr throws the ball a little bit better. And then Lamar Jackson is just, the difference to me is Lamar is way way better at extending plays and running around. His ability to make explosive plays running the football is a big difference here. And it's kind of funny, like, one of my limitations for Derek Carr is that he simply can't run around and extend plays, and I like my quarterbacks to do that. I think if I'm a coach and I'm building a team, I'm like, well, Lamar or Derek, like Lamar is more explosive. He can just do more literally than Derek Carr can. And that's why number 5 is Kyler Murray. Similar reason. Like, I'll skip ahead in order. I know technically Mahomes is next alphabetically, but Kyler Murray, I would take for the same reason as Lamar. Like, Kyler has an even better arm than Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. Kyler Murray, the dude is electric running the football. It's unbelievable what he can do. Go watch the Titans game from the other day. I only watched one highlight from that entire game. I'm excited to watch that tomorrow, hopefully. But the one highlight I saw from this football game is Kyler making like 4 people miss in the backfield, running around, flipping his hips, making a throw downfield into a tight window, and you're like, that's unfreaking believable that Kyler Murray can do that. And look, I like Derek Carr. He can't do that. And so I would rather coach Kyler Murray than Derek Carr. Quarterback number 6 is an easy and obvious one. Number 6 is Patrick Mahomes. There's no argument here. I like Derek. Patrick Mahomes, in contrast, is the best quarterback in the entire NFL. There literally isn't even a conversation to be had here. He can do more. The ability of Patrick Mahomes to win with a struggling offensive line or even a bad offensive line is unreal. And Patrick Mahomes made a throw the other day where he was rolling to his right, launches it way down the right sideline. Tyreek Hill catches it, runs for a touchdown. You're like, that's just, I love Derek. That's not even a possibility for Derek Carr. So Patrick Mahomes, clearly way better quarterback than Derek Carr. And I don't even need to, do I need to convince people of that? Come on. Number 7, I would rather have Aaron Rodgers than Derek Carr. Derek Carr is kind of like diet Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's Aaron Rodgers light. And they have a similar skill set. Aaron is just way better. He's got better footwork. Aaron has a better deep ball. Aaron is more accurate on back shoulder throws along the sideline. I prefer Derek as a leader, and that's highly, highly subjective. I just know that I like the attitude of Derek Carr a little more than I like the approach of Aaron Rodgers, but that's literally like the only category where Derek Carr is even arguably better than Aaron, and that's not even like most things are like, hey, Aaron is just a way better thrower of the football than Derek Carr. With that, it's a little bit subjective. Like, you can have at least a debate there, but it's the only thing that's even debatable between Aaron and Derek Carr. Number 8, I would actually rather have Matthew Stafford than Derek. He's better late in games, in my opinion. Like, the fourth quarter comebacks that Matthew Stafford has put together in his career demand respect. The broken ribs game or whatever happened, like punctured lung. There was some game where I'm forgetting it now, and maybe it was a broken thumb? There was something that I can't remember. I've seen the video though where he's holding his arm. You know what it was? It was Matthew Stafford separated his shoulder, right? Like, now that I think about it, that's what it was. He's holding his shoulder, running down like, I got it, I'm fine. And he runs one play, throws a game-winning touchdown, or maybe he jumped over, like whatever he did. I'm remembering this so horribly, but I remember Matthew Stafford so tough that he dislocated his shoulder and went in for one more play, scored the game-winning touchdown, then walked off the field. So, look, I trust Matthew Stafford way more than Derek Carr. They have a similar skill set, but Stafford is better. The final quarterback I would take rather than Derek Carr is Russell Wilson. Think about it. And as I do, I encourage you to think about this. I think about it myself. And this is how I feel so dumb. I screwed up my predictions so bad. I predicted the Seattle Seahawks go 6-11. Mother flip. Like, why did I do that? Now that I think about it, because I just talked about how Mahomes can elevate a team, and so can Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is the second best quarterback in the entire NFL, and there's no contest. The only quarterback you would rather have in the entire NFL than Russell Wilson is Patrick Mahomes, and that's it. So Russell Wilson demands a lot of respect. He can extend plays. He can carry his team. So easily you take Russell over Derek Carr. And those are the 9 quarterbacks I would take over Derek Carr. Let's see if I can remember them. Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, and Aaron Rodgers. Those are the 9. Now, there are a couple of guys I want to mention. In my mind, I just put a tie across the board. I couldn't decide. Would I rather have Joe Burrow or Derek Carr? I'm like, well, they both need help, and I think they're both really, really similar. Dak Prescott has elevated himself a lot. He's on par with Derek Carr, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. They're so close. I don't want to make that. I just don't care enough to make that debate. Matt Ryan might be a guy where, like, Derek Carr, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, and Matt Ryan are all just tied across the board. Like they're all the 10th best quarterback in the NFL. So Derek Carr to me is like the 10th or 11th or 12th best quarterback in the league. And the idea, though, the point of this topic is not to like kind of cut him down. The point is to say, when you think about it, Derek Carr is fantastic. And the idea that the Raiders should get rid of him is laughable. I'm a big fan of the guy, and Derek Carr deserves more respect.